Hello, everyone. It's really lovely to see you. And thank you for coming along to all of these different movement explorations. I hope it has been a kaleidoscope of movement, because when we think of movement, we perhaps tend to branch it off as exercise, but you are moving all the time. You're moving in breathing right now. We'll check that out. Yeah, your body's moving. Your heart is moving right now. It's pulsating. It's doing a little spirillic pumping action. It's moving on your breathing diaphragm. So you're moving all the time. Blood vessels are pushing blood through your body. So many different systems that are in movement. And we are going to do a movement practice today that is inspired by my Franklin method learning. Franklin method is largely embodiment and imagery. So we need to know that we move all the time. It's not necessarily exercise. What is embodiment? What is imagery? Embodiment is where you sense your body moving. So I'm going to give you an example of that. But first I'm going to say, what is imagery? Imagery is where you use your mind to stay focused with pictures or words or phrases to keep you in the moment. So it's a mindful practice too, mindfulness practice. So let's embody an image as an example. So I want you to put your hands maybe on your lowish ribs here. Can you feel ribs? If you can, you've just embodied your ribs, right? Because some of your ribs are here. So we're tuning into what the ribs feel like here. So we'll embody breath. I'm going to say, take in a few breaths, and do you feel your body move while you breathe? Perhaps you feel your ribs open out as you breathe in and close in as you breathe out. I'm going to create a little imagery for you as you do that. So as you breathe in, do you feel your ribs go like that? And breathe out your ribs like that. And then just notice the effect that that might create. Do you feel your breath has become a little deeper, fuller, more enjoyable? Perhaps. So we're looking also for a result, for a change. By using embodiment and imagery, we maybe feel calmer, more centered, and do things like breathe better or move better. That's what I hope I have planned for you. So that is embodiment and imagery. So what about the heart? Why not the heart right now? Because we've just had Thanksgiving, and that's all about gratitude, giving thanks. That's very much a heartfelt thing. And if you notice, I just went heartfelt. So I'm also planning on taking a citizenship test for the US next year. And to do that, you have to pledge allegiance. And that is the same motion. I don't know if you were going to pledge allegiance. If you want to do so, you'd put your hands somewhere around here. And maybe if you keep your hand here, you can even tune into the beat of the heart. And just try that for a moment. You can feel the body lifting and lowering in breathing. Embodying breath, but embodying the heart. Pulsation, a sense of life, and the most electrical place in your body. Now, I hope that you're finding like that heart connection, because that is where your heart is located. So the next thing is to feel your breastbone. If you feel your breastbone, it's like a front spine. Right, the front spine, and right there in the center of your chest is sort of where your heart is, the base of the heart, the top of the heart. But of course, we think of the heart on the left. It is a little on the left, and here's about the size of your heart, is about the size of your fist. So if you make a fist like that and you point the angle of the knuckles downward from the center toward the left, right where you'd pledge allegiance. I think that's where I would pledge allegiance, but it's about that size and located right there at an angle going down. And I have a little model of the heart just to show you. Ta-da, ta-da, there it is, a lovely model of the heart. You can do a little spiral for you there, a little twirl. And that's about where it would sit. So I'm not going to give you anything other than just to connect to that, placing both hands on that place. And I'll just give you a moment to tap into your heartbeat and any words that come to mind that bring us to gratitude, compassion, love. And here we're into the imagery just from those words. Let that, whatever words spring to your mind. Now I'm going to give you some words, and I want you to watch your posture as we play through the words. I feel really depressed and heavy-hearted today. I feel heavy-hearted. My heart is like stone. And if you follow my posture, my head sinks down, my heart feels heavy, and it doesn't feel a happy place to be. So those words matter very much to our emotions. Instead, I want you to think my heart feels uplifted, and even use your hands. My heart feels uplifted. I feel uplifted. And then we'll allow the arms to brush up from the heart, and they're going to brush up like a fountain of love. And so I feel lighthearted. You say it and you mean it. I feel lighthearted. Fake it till you make it. I feel lighthearted. Life is fun. I'm of a happy heart. And then just pause and notice the posture when you feel lighthearted. That has that emotional impact from lifting the heart. It's as simple as that. Change your mood, change your posture. Is it that simple? So we have to keep reminding ourselves. So we're going to get into a little bit of movement and move the heart. So now we know what it is. We're going to find out all of the structures around the heart. And we're doing something today called orgokinematics. This is a Franklin Method special. When you think of movement, you're going to help me do some imagery and modeling here. Make a fist, and then you're going to make a socket with the other hand. And this I could embody as my arm or my leg in the hip joint. And you've got movement from a joint in a socket. Now, if it's really good movement, you'd have a slight kind of counter movement relative of the socket in the bone. Right? So this is happening, and of course you could move in all directions. And if this were a joint, I would be creating lots of synovial fluid right now by moving the joint through the bone and the socket moving. Okay, we got that idea. Well, in your body, this whole area of your body is made up of organs, and they also need to move like a joint relative to one another. And we're going to be playing with that. Are you excited to play with that today? It's kind of fun, isn't it? So I've never really thought about my lungs, my heart, my kidneys, all of these organs moving in structures like a joint. But if I show my t-shirt here, the heart is surrounded by the lungs and forms a joint there. It's probably the largest in the body. There's also a connection of movement of the heart upon the diaphragm, the breathing muscle. I'll show you that clear in a moment. And maybe you can see a liver and a stomach under here. Now, what we're going to do now is move and wake all of that up, and that idea of our organs being the parts that are moving. So you can sit to do this, but I'm going to suggest we stand because we sit plenty. And we're going to tap, shake out, and get our organs awake. So keep the fists nice and loose to do this. Let's move the camera up just a squeak. I hope that you can see me in all my glory. So just shake out the arms a little bit and feel lovely loose wrists. We're going to breathe the whole time we do this. And we're going to tap. So it's going to be down the left and up the right. But I'm not mirroring you for that one. So what am I tapping here? What am I tapping? I've got intestines in the center, small intestines. I've got a liver on the right. I've got a stomach on the left and a spleen on the left. And then we'll brush up with this one. On the right side, your right side, I'm not mirroring, brush up the right. We've got a large intestinal pillar here, the ascending colon. Brush across the body for the transverse colon, and then brush down the body on the left side for the descending colon. Marvelous. Let's do a little tap on the back of the body and tapping around the kidney area. If you like a sound, kidneys love sound, they love music. So, a little tap, a little noise. Hello, kidneys. And then give the kidneys a little soft rub. They love it. They love warmth and they love sound. Super. Then what are we interested in? We're probably interested in this area quite a bit. So we're going to tap the right lung, just your right lung. Where is that lung? It goes all the way up here, past your collarbone, goodness. But down here to the lower ribs, and then also at the side of the ribs, and at the back here. Nice. Now, just from that tapping alone, and let's shake out that same arm, I'm going to see, let's see if we can embody breath that side. So take a breath into your right lung. Your lung is light, airy, spacious, and free. Does it feel like you can get a really nice full breath? Compare that to the other side, to your left lung, and breathe into your left lung. So this lung feels a little heavier, a little denser, not quite as free. I'm seeing somebody just sort of roll their shoulder. It's like, let me get in there. And yeah, begin to tap. It's nice to see somebody like, no, I don't want that. and your lung is attached inside onto your rib cage with connective tissue in a sac called the pleura. And any kind of lovely movement, tapping, we're moving the lung. So let your lung move even a little here, freeing the lung from its structures of the rib. Super. We can shake out an arm here. And then just notice, compare and contrast. Did I improve my breath? I'm feeling like a deeper, more expansive breath. And do you like that? Yes, it feels good. I didn't have to effort to get that, right? Okay, so then we're going to have a little dance of the heart. So we know where it is in here. It's got behind your sternum, but it's also in front of your spine, right? So bony structures, sternum in front, spine at the back. So ribs, of course, like their protective container as well. We can feel our ribs. So let's picture our heart, something in the center of all of that, in the center. Sternum, bony ribs, spine at the back. Now just let your heart initiate a little dance within those bony structures. It could be anything that feels fun. You don't have to keep your legs still either. You could move your legs, but let your heart initiate the movement. If you like, your messengers of the heart are your wings, your arms. It's like, oh, this feels silly. No, let your heart decide what feels silly. Okay, so it's nice to just play and experience that for yourself, but how easeful could movement be when you move from the heart? Well, definitely light-hearted. All right, now we're going to move the heart in a kind of a circle. So you could be seated or standing, and I want you to think of rolling the heart, kind of like a ball. Can you picture it? Inside those bony structures, inside your ribs. And we can go in the other direction. And breath flowing in and out. Super. Again, seated or standing, up to you. But if you're standing, keep a tiny bend into the legs. Now I'm going to go into the sternum and sense the movement of your heart on a sternum. Here's a breastbone with the ribs. It's kind of fun. And we're going to do a little flexion and extension of the spine, but as we go into flexion, that means rolling down. Could you imagine your heart's going to roll up on your sternum, on your breastbone, and as we extend, the heart's going to roll down. So I'll show you that again, and then we'll do it. So as we flex, it's going to roll up the heart, up the sternum, As we extend and lean back, it's going to roll down. So you can just touch into your sternum and feel that. In the very little bottom, it has a little tail on. Super. And then let's picture that. So we'll come into flexion and feel the heart's going to roll up like a little ball on your sternum. Now extend your spine and feel your heart is rolling, rolling, rolling down your sternum. Let's try that again. Roll the heart like a little ball up and then roll it down. Rolling it up as we flex. Rolling it down, 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 down. One more. Nice. So we are moving our spine, but I'm not talking about the spine when we move. I'm playing about how we get flexibility of the spine through our heart. Interesting. So spine at the back, we're going to play a little bit and move the heart back and forth. So this is called a little bit of translation, but we're going to move the heart back and forth between the sternum and the spine. Now we can move into flexion and extension doing that too. Send the heart to the sternum. Sternum sends the heart to the spine. Spine sends heart to sternum. Sternum sends heart to spine. Allow your arms to flow with that. And you picture this kind of ball in the center being rallied back and forth between your spine and your sternum. Nice. Super. So, you know, it's just a different way of experiencing the movement, and you might feel kind of more flexible from doing that rather than, oh, it's just move your spine. So I like seeing, yeah, a little bit of wish to move something else maybe. So we're going to tap into the lung area again, and let me show you a lovely picture of lungs and heart. And then we can picture what is, oh, no, I've got a better picture. Let's just see. Yeah. So this is one of the largest joints in the body, and that's the lungs and the heart. So they do have connection. And I don't know if you can see here, if we go side bending, the lung here is going to cover over the heart, and the heart will be supported on the lung underneath. So I hope you get an idea of that in your body, embodying, and we'll try it. Okay. So you can begin without the arms. So you can just lean a little bit. In fact, we'll put the hand onto the right lung. I will mirror you now. And as you go to the side, can you feel this lung is stretching over your heart? And your heart is resting in the lower lung. And we'll come back up, and you can try that again. So imagine stretching a cover over the heart. It's your lung is stretching. And to really get that nice movement, imagine the heart is like tucking under its head underneath the covers. And again, reaching over. So heart rolls, counter rolls the opposite direction. If you want to add the arm, we can add the arm. So think of this lung, it's really stretching now, stretching over the heart and then coming back. Lung stretches over the heart. Heart's like tucking its head under the covers. We're going to do that one more time. Or any image that you feel, this lovely flexible lung. Now stay here and rest your heart into the lung below. Let it rest into like a comfy pillow. Comfy pillows plumped up. Pushes the heart back. Okay, let's just see, did that change any sort of flexibility? Like on that side, do I feel flexible compared to the other side? I know we didn't do it yet, but it feels like kind of a little stiff. So I've improved my flexibility and my awareness just by embodying my organs. Let's do the lung on the other side. You can even sense lung, heart, lung underneath. And then begin to stretch out the lung on this side. Or I could imagine I'm really squishing the lung here and the heart resting on that lung. And coming up, so squishing the lower lung, stretching the upper lung. And of course you're breathing, so the lungs are moving in breathing too, if you want to add the arm. And as the lung goes over, let the heart counter rotate the other way. Okay, so just like a joint, this is the socket of the lung going over the heart, and we want the ball to kind of roll freely the other way. You got one more in you? Feels so good. Super. Let's bring that all the way down. Give a little roll of the shoulders. And we just moved our spine in lateral flexion. So that's good. We've moved in flexion, extension, lateral flexion. But I wonder if you'd swing your heart with me. So now let's picture the spine. We think of it as the back of the body, but actually it's quite central to the body, really. What you can feel is just the back bit. So soft in the knees, and then we're just going to swing the heart around the spine. Whee! Well, you're swinging your heart and lungs around your spine. Now see if you can feel it from the inside. Lungs and heart swing around the spine while they breathe and pump blood. So many jobs to do, but we can have fun while we do them. Good. So we'll slow that down into a gentler rotation, and then we can maybe picture as we reach across with the right arm to the left that the lung is swiveling around the heart. We'll try that a few times. So the lung is kind of spiraling and swiveling around your heart. Allow your heart to kind of glide in the opposite direction to allow movement to happen. If you go in the same direction, there's no movement. And we're breathing. It feels fun to move. Okay. Shall we do that in the other direction? So really, lung glides over your heart. It's very sort of protective, like a big cover. Yeah, couple more. Great stuff. Let's just check in. Maybe feel the heart again. I can feel she's beating very sweetly there. So another structure that's very important for the heart is the diaphragm. What is a diaphragm? Well, a diaphragm is your key breathing apparatus. And you can see that lovely muscular structure right here. It's very domed. It attaches to the lowest 6 ribs and to your breastbone as well. So if you put your fingers around that little tail of the breastbone and you do something like a little cough or laugh, you probably feel a little pop underneath the fingers. And that's around where your diaphragm is attached, but also connected to your back. So right back here. And what we could see, I hope, from that picture is that both your lungs and your heart are attached to your diaphragm. So your heart is in a sac called the pericardium, and we'll maybe see a little bit more of that in a short while and where that's attached to. But it is connected via that to your heart, to your diaphragm. So if we move the heart, we'll be moving the heart on the diaphragm. So I'm going to see if we can explore that a little bit. Again, if you're standing, have a little bend to the legs. And if we flex the spine, we'd be rolling our heart forward on the diaphragm. And if we extend, we'd be rolling it back on the diaphragm. I can model that. So if we flex, it would roll forward. If we extend, it would roll back. You can see, flex, let it roll forward and let the diaphragm pull back slightly. And we get that kind of an image. Keep a nice bend in your legs so you're not kind of straining at all to do this. Nice. And then if we were to side bend to the right, we're kind of letting the heart fall this way. Side bend to the other side, and the heart is kind of falling in that way. So we can side bend the heart rolling on the diaphragm. And you imagine the diaphragm is kind of counter moving in the other direction, just to free up movement, even that little extra. Sometimes we can help that by modeling. So if I model a heart and a diaphragm, and if I go that way, the heart will roll that way, but I want to think, slide my diaphragm that way. Here, heart rolls this way, slide my diaphragm that way. We can kind of do that. I'm seeing some lovely movement. You're all moving like it's so easy to move. And I'm not asking you to exercise or do anything evil like that. And then we can again swirl and feel the heart is swirling on the diaphragm. And the lungs, they're getting a little spiral as well into that. Lovely. Okay. Just give yourself one of those little check-in moments. Checking your posture, your breathing. So right now I feel fairly comfortable in standing. I feel my posture's quite lifted and I didn't have to try and do anything to get that way. So I like that. It's effortless for me. But it does take practice to stay focused on a good image that works for you, and not every image works fantastically for everyone. So I'm going to use an image that I hope works for you. Can you imagine a feather? A very light and easy feather. And if you were to lift your arms and imagine them as feathers, does that work? I'm seeing lovely wings here. They're so beautiful. But if I said, no, your arms are heavy like bricks, heavy stones, heavy bricks. Oh, good. I'm not seeing the arms lift quite so high, because if you can picture it, you know you're on the right track. So let's get rid of that, shake it off. And your arms are like messengers from the heart, because all of the network of vessels all stem from the heart to the arms. So does the nervous network through something called the brachial plexus right here. So we're going to do a little arm movement and allow the arm to be moved by the heart. So let the heart push your arm forward and back. So you can kind of glide it forward and back. And think my arm's an extension of the heart. Like, I would love to give a gift to you. Here, please take this gift. And while I was just in Washington, they had at the Ford Theatre, where Lincoln was sadly shot, they had the Christmas Carol. And that, I think, of Scrooge, and that's like, I don't want to give from my heart. You can't prize my arm from my heart. It's the absolute opposite. So it's a nice way to move the arm. We're going to do the same on the other side. So give from the heart. And how does that feel within your whole body, but also from your arm? Do you feel expansive and free in moving your arm? From the heart and the lung. Okay, so we'll do a little more of that, but just changing it up a little. So bringing the hands maybe sort of in this sort of a little fashion, and thinking of that uplifting, we're going to send like a shower of love, confetti of love, all the way from the heart to bring our arms open. What could you picture? A shower of glitter, like maybe a little snow globe. Words of love. Perhaps a colourful rainbow. And one more, bringing it up. And releasing. Yes. So just gentle movement of the body from the organs perspective. Let's just add a little bit more organs to get into that realm down here as well. So a little rub to the belly. And then to the back we have the kidneys. So the heart is supported by all of these organs below. And often when we take a step, we can sense moving these organs. So we'll do that, just taking a step and stepping back. And of course we can swing our heart and lungs around as we do that. But we're also kind of moving the intestines, kidneys, the liver, allowing for serous fluid to make ease of motion. If they are stuck together, then you'll find pain in your joints. Okay. Yeah, we're going to give one little stretch to the intestines because I love this one. I think it's such fun. So the large intestine is located down here in your pelvis, and you're going to give a little, we'll step that same side back, but we're going to give a little pull up to stretch into that area. Just give it a little pull and stretch. And if you feel like a balance, and you can do this, it's hard to do it in the chair, but you can do this in the chair. And then we're going to lift up and lift it up as you come up. If you dare to take a little balance. It's okay to tumble a little bit there. And then take the leg back. And this time, push down and think, stretch. Deep stretch in there. So where we feel we might have tight hip flexors from sitting, maybe it's our organs need a stretch. If you want to, you can take over the arm. So now the lung is covering the heart and we're stretching the large intestine. That felt nice. I enjoyed that. Okay, shall we do a little of that on the other side very briefly? So this is getting a little bit lower into the body. So feeling into the crest of your pelvis right here. Give a little massage in there. And I'm going to hold that in and sort of pull it up a little as I take my leg back. And just stretch into there a little bit. If you want a little bit of a balance play, we pull that up, lift up the intestine, make movement lighter. Then we send the leg back and this time push down a little. If you can, raise the lung over the heart. Ah. Breathe, it's fun. And then we'll come back. Great. So giving a nice little shake out through your body, we're going to come sit down and just do a little bit of how the heart moves in breathing. So this is one of my favorites for understanding good breathing and good posture. So lots of things. I'll show you another picture. So I think this is all kind of fascinating stuff. I hope it's clear enough for you to see. It didn't print out super well. So what I've got here is your heart in its pericardium. That's a sac, a strong fibrous sac. And that connects to the diaphragm. Can you see these like fibers connected onto your diaphragm? So then your heart is also connected in this sac to your sternum. There's your breastbone. It's connected at the bottom. You see these ligaments here. And it's connected at the top. You see these ligaments here. But isn't it interesting when you look that all of these ligaments connect your heart to your neck and to your thoracic spine? That's your mid spine, right? So look at all those fibrous connections, your diaphragm, your breastbone, and your spine. So if our posture falls, all of these ligaments become lax. The heart becomes not suspended in a very healthful way on your diaphragm, and you can't breathe very effectively. So we want to change that. But what we're going to do, let's just first of all tap those structures and get a sense of them. So we know that the heart is attached to the breastbone. The heart's attached to the spine. I don't know if you can reach and tap the spine a little. Very gently, the heart's attached to your neck. Tap not so much at the front because there's a lot of danger or precious tubes at the front. And the heart is attached to the diaphragm, so tapping the sides of your ribs. A little to the back, it's attached to the back as well, and to the lower sternum here. Okay, so where is that diaphragm? So if we were to put the hands something like that at the base of the sternum, and the elbows come down, that would be our diaphragm. Now we can imagine our heart is sitting on that diaphragm. So when we breathe in, the lungs fill with air pulled by like a vacuum action of the diaphragm going down and letting more air fill into the lungs. So as we breathe in, diaphragm will go down, and the ribs will slightly elevate out. These are my ribs. As we exhale, the ribs come down and the diaphragm goes up. Let's see if we can embody that. Inhale, diaphragm down, ribs out. Exhale, ribs down, diaphragm up. Go at your pace. I hope you can model that. Be with it. And because the diaphragm is on the heart, so the heart is on the diaphragm, it also has to go down too with each breath. So you can feel the heart as you breathe in goes down with the diaphragm. Heart rises up as you exhale. See if you can picture the heart riding on the diaphragm. Maybe that deepened the breath or brought you into a calmer place. I hope so. So here's an interesting thing too. Because I showed you that ligamentous connection of the heart to these structures up here, as well as the diaphragm, what happens when the diaphragm goes down, there's a slight stretching of the heart and all of the vessels that lead into the heart. So there's a slight stretch as you breathe in that pulls blood into the heart. So the heart doesn't have to work so hard as a pump if we're already doing the breathing to pull the blood into the heart. I think that's so wonderful. So our healthy breathing will enhance the function of our heart. So I wonder if you can kind of imagine that as you breathe in, your diaphragm goes down, the heart stretching slightly, pulling the blood back to the heart. And as you breathe out, gentle, gentle softening of the heart. Doesn't have to work so hard. Maybe you can sense that nice stretch of the heart breathing in. It's stretching the heart's container, all of the vessels. So a little more, just a little more. There's a lot more to it, but just a little more for you today because we don't have lots and lots of time. But because the diaphragm is a dome shape, the heart doesn't just go down, but it slightly rolls down as we breathe in. So it's kind of rolling down into the corner here, just a little bit, and then rolling back as we come up. So it has a slight rolling action to breathe in. And I can model that with my hand too. So it's like just a little roll, like it's skiing down a hill. And all the time this is happening, the heart is giving its little pumping action. Rather than a pump, a more effective way that the heart works, it's actually a natural spirillic action like this. So rather than a pump, which is like thump, 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 it's not so good. Let's think of it more like a sponge squeezing like that. So see if you can do that. You can make that with your hand. So every beat is like that. So now we've got that action on top of your breathing. So can you imagine doing this on top of breathing? And then just give yourself a pause, a rest. Sensing breathing, sensing your heart. And connecting the hands back to the heart and to the words that we say to ourselves. So, words that connect to our heart that could be helpful. Purity, clarity. Let those words resonate in this heart center. Purity, clarity. That the blood is pure, clear, clean. And that from this healthy spring, this healthy flow, comes kindness, compassion. And you breathe in those words, and each breath, the lungs give a little squeeze to the heart, a little hug of compassion and kindness. Friendship, kinship, gratitude. All of the things in life that we are so grateful for, when we connect to that feeling, that is our heart center. Let your heart do one of those little dances of gratitude. It may sway a little. Can you feel it swinging happily within your ribs, back and forth from your sternum to your spine, between your lungs, gliding over your diaphragm, and suspended from here. So just brushing up the back of the neck and think, my heart is suspended from here. And if this is a heavy heart, all I have to do is push up here, uplift, lift from here, and feel alive, wings alive, happy heart. And let's just try it. You have to say this though. I can't hear you, but you have to say it. A high heart is a happy heart. A high heart is a happy heart. My heart is uplifted. So I hope that you have a high and happy heart, that you feel uplifted with our practice today. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them to see if that imagery worked for you. Could you sense anything to make you feel your movement felt easeful, comfortable? So you just exercised for the last 45 minutes, but I didn't call it exercise. We just moved and had a little fun. So I hope that you too had some of that experience and that the movement felt useful and enjoyable to you. We enjoy moving, we're going to move more.